You started yet? Okay. I just got to I'm giving a speech for a college course. It's my last one. I could teach 10 people. So don't do it online. You can do this. It's awful. It was the way we work. All right, my speech today, it's on it's a persuasive speech. It's on attributes. Now, what I want to talk about today is attributes, and attributes not as in just a total attribute of an individual, but on disabled or handicapped, and how their attributes make them an individual instead of a statistic or something on a government form that says I'm this or that. But attributes actually make them an individual, and I think that's the most important thing. My grandfather used to say, he'd drive around, and he was about 90 years old, and he'd see a handicap sign. He says, well, I'm handy, I've got a cap, how come I can't park there? And that's the idea. He was handicapped, but he never thought of himself as it. That's one of those attributes that I'm talking about. Now, 3 people I like to talk about. One of them was a friend of mine, and 2 of them are, the other 2 are my children, my daughter and my son. The first one was Robert Goodwin. He was a friend of mine. I knew him as soon as I got in the Marine Corps. I met the man at a game store. I'm a gamer. Met him in a game store, and the man had polio. He was one of the last guys that had polio before they had the cure back in the early 60s. He lived in Hawaii for a long time. His dad was in the Navy, and he never let the handicap or the disability get to him. He was always the same person day in day out. He was what you call a connector. You know what that is? A connector. It's somebody that's kind of like a middle person who meets a lot of people and connects all of them together. He networked. Yeah, exactly. He networked. And he was that type of personality. That was one of his best attributes about him, besides everything else he was about. He was on SSI his whole life. He could never get a job, because if he got a job, which he did later in life, he was penalized for that. I don't know if you guys know that or not. You get penalized for working if you're on SSI. And I don't think that's right. That's not a good thing to do to somebody, especially if they want to be part of society and they want to contribute. He worked in the one place that he loved to be. He loved to be around people, and he loved to be in a game shop. He worked for a game shop, and that's where he died at the age of 48. That was in 1997 he died. But all the time that he was alive, his attributes, which I don't like to call a disability, because he didn't have any. And I like to persuade you, not for some government or some law, but as an individual. Because we all know somebody who's sick or handicapped sometime in our life, some sort of disability. And I don't think anybody wants to see that person as a stable person or handicapped, like I didn't like to see with Robert, because he was able to get up and go and do things every day. And that's really important. It's not what Robert did or his friends did, but how you perceive them and how they affect the society as a whole, to the individuals. Not some star, or, we always hear about stars and stuff like that, that have some sort of disability, and how they overcome this disability. Well, I don't know that person. I just know the people that I know, just like you do, that they have disabilities, and that's more important on an individual basis. My daughter, I don't know how many of you are ADHD, severe kids with ADHD. Anybody here have children or spouse or family member has ADHD? Right. And you know how debilitating that can be. That's a disability, they say. I don't see it that way. My daughter had ADHD the whole time she was growing up, and she was on Ritalin. She had to really focus and struggle to overcome this. And when she went to high school, she went off Ritalin at that point and really started focusing. And her grades dropped a little bit, but over time, she figured out a way to work through it. And now she's in the Navy. Of course, you can't take, at the time when she joined the Navy, you couldn't take Ridley to be in the Navy when he was coach at the time. So that's an attribute also. It's not a disability. She used a way to focus that supposedly disability and used it to her advantage. Because ADHD, and a lot of people have ADHD, also have Asperger's. Everybody heard of Asperger's? Asperger's is, if you ever met somebody that's focused in on something, one thing, all the time. You ever met anybody like that? Just, no matter what you talk about, they always focus in on one thing. That's Asperger's. They focus in on something direct. My daughter was horses. So she was able, even before she was ever rode a horse, she already knew how to do it. And it showed when she actually got on the horse the first time and rode it. And she's still doing that today. My son, Max, he has an impediment. He's got ADHD, slight autism, and he has a speech cognitive disability. But I see it as an attribute again because he's overcome these. He's 10 years old. He's overcome these by not giving up. Just like Robert, just like my daughter Heather, they never give up. They never say, well, I have a disability, I quit. These are people that don't make the news. These are people that don't become famous. These are just regular people like we see every day. And that's the most important thing, like I stated before on attributes. It's focusing on the person and not the disability or the handicap. And that is my speech for the day. Thank you very much.
I think it's still
Attributes.